What makes a gaming monitor good? It's a question we've all been wondering for a very long time, and I think there's only one man to answer this question. That's your cue to come in.
Thank you.
Hello. Oh, we're shaking hands. We're doing the fake shake hand thing. Then this is the bit that I'll cut, so that would be seamless. I believe you are Mr. TFT Central in the flesh.
I am. Thank you for having me.
You look different. You're not wearing the t-shirt.
I haven't got a t-shirt. No merch.
So your website is pretty much dedicated to gaming monitors, right?
Yeah, well, all monitors of every type, but there's a lot of gaming monitors on the site. We'll analyse everything from the colours, the contrast, the response times, the input lag, anything and everything that we can think of.
So you take it a bit more seriously than me. You don't muck about halfway through the video.
There's no mucking about.
Break.
I don't break for no one. Simon runs over 12 people in the middle of Edinburgh. Yeah, that's about right. I've come all this way. Marcus has got the latest monitor that I've been wanting to test.
And here it is. It is.
Look at it.
The OLED.
I've driven all the way across the country in the UK to come and see this. So excited to come up and see it.
The Gigabyte Aura 17 is a gaming powerhouse, coming equipped with Intel's latest 12th gen i7 processors, up to an RTX 3080 Ti graphics card, crazy fast Intel Wi-Fi 6E, and a stupendous 360Hz IPS display. Learn a little bit more and get yours today. Hit the link in the description below.
So tell me a little bit more about QD OLED and how it works.
QD OLED is Samsung's alternative to OLED technology, which I guess everyone will have heard of.
You're lowering the desk.
That was accidental. They've combined their quantum dot coating with an OLED panel. We haven't really seen any OLED attempts in the monitor market yet. There's been a couple of professional monitors.
Oh, so this is your desktop then?
Yeah, it's just a random collection of crap that's on it.
Oh, and you've got stuff down the bottom as well. I'm seeing a lot into the world of Simon here.
Yeah, this probably shouldn't all be on there.
One of the things we talk about a lot is about how a monitor uses a panel from this manufacturer, right?
Yeah.
What does that actually mean? How do they make their monitor different? Two monitors, the same price, the same manufacturer, how different can they actually be?
Yeah, so the panel is just one component, so the rest of the internal electronics will be unique to that display manufacturer. So the way they set it up, the overdrive settings, everything that you'd find within the on-screen display menu will be different. The two screens might be similar if they're using the same panel. There will certainly still be differences. So Samsung will have their own version of this screen later in the year, but I expect it to perform differently.
Test number one, can you drive without crashing? No. What's the first thing you do then with a monitor like this? You've got it in your studio at home.
It depends what kind of monitor it is. If it's a gaming monitor, I'd probably start with some of the gaming tests, so like testing response times, testing refresh rates, input lag, that kind of thing. I would like to see Test UFO in action.
The thing is, I've seen a lot of monitors, and even when you get 240 Hz IPS, you've still got a fair bit of trailing at the top.
Yeah.
You just don't have that there. So what would you say is better, a 360 Hz TN monitor or an OLED at 175?
I think it would depend on how good the 360Hz monitor was. If it was fast and it could keep up with the refresh rate and there was minimal overshoot, I think you're into the realms of diminishing returns when you get above something like 175, maybe 240 Hz. I think in real use, you're probably unlikely to see it unless you were talking about really, proper competitive gaming.
Whenever I'm testing a monitor, it's more the gaming experience, and while I use data to back that up, I can immediately get a lot just from using the monitor and playing a game. But I believe you go a lot more technical than that.
Yeah, so we can use this first. So this is OSRTT. This is from Tech Team GB.
Yeah, what's it stand for? Open Source
Response Time Tool. This will measure the actual pixel response time. So it will give you a quantitative number that you can use to compare this screen against any other screen. When I take measurements, I will normally check them against my other equipment. I can be sure that it's reliable. You can see, is that screen going to look different? Are the response times going to look different? Are you going to get more ghosting? Are you going to get more halos, bright halos, dark halos by moving objects?
Essentially, what this allows us to do is to say this monitor is objectively better than this one at this particular thing. Are you much of a gamer yourself, by the way?
Only console.
Whoa! You can't say that.
I game regularly.
Am I right in thinking that you used to have to use like a high-speed camera to get these sort of readings?
No, I've always used an oscilloscope.
I was thinking the thing that doctors wear around their neck. That's not that, is it?
No.
So we're not using a
We're
stethoscope?
not using that. I would have used this to measure the response times, but it was a far more manual process.
What's the difference between response time and input lag?
Input lag is the signal processing delay of the screens. That's the lag that you would feel when you're moving your mouse around. It's the lag that you would feel in a game, whereas the response time is more associated with what you see.
So you could almost imagine that where you have a mouse, you click it, it sends the signal to the computer, that then changes something in the game, so say firing a gun.
Yeah.
And it's the time from clicking the mouse to actually seeing something happen on screen. Is that right?
Yeah, so that would be your total system latency. And that's the kind of thing that you can measure with like NVIDIA Reflex. So that is your click, they call it click to photon.
So that's like the full process, whereas input lag is purely just the monitor.
It's isolating the delay of the monitor caused by the internal electronics and the scaler. Most gaming monitors nowadays will have a very low input lag, below 3 or 4 milliseconds.
I mean, is it something people should worry about if they're buying specifically, let's say, a gaming monitor?
I don't think you need to worry too much about it nowadays. Generally, most gaming monitors, dedicated gaming monitors, will have super low lag. An office monitor or professional screen or something like maybe an old TV, they might have lag that's like 20, 30, 40 milliseconds, and you would definitely feel that.
What else you got in your goodie bag? If I had these when I went to a party when I was 6, and this was what was in the goodie bag,
You'd have been pretty disappointed.
that also looks like medical equipment.
Yeah, they all do.
Can I touch it? Is that allowed?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh. I don't break anything on this channel. I don't really talk about this much because it's not relevant to PC gaming so much, but this is what I use. It is the Spider X Pro, and I use this to calibrate the display.
A lot of gaming screens would come set out of the box with like really inaccurate colors, so everything would be oversaturated. Maybe it would be overly bright, maybe it'd be overly cool or too warm. The absolute accuracy is less important when you're considering like gaming and multimedia and movies, because really what you're looking for there is just something that looks good to you, right?
I would much rather have a better quality screen that was calibrated badly than a perfectly calibrated screen that just couldn't show great contrast or great colours.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's say you do want to print something, then you want a screen that can be as accurate as possible and can produce those colours.
Yeah.
So what you see on the screen is going to be as close to what you print as possible.
Yeah.
That's the idea, right? Who watching this video should buy one of these?
Anyone who's concerned, I mean, that's quite a low cost device, right? I tested that a while back and I thought that's actually a pretty decent device. You know, I don't use it for my reviews because I've got other, you know, expensive bits of equipment. So this is my handheld device so that I can take measurements out and about, but it's got a high level of accuracy. So it's a spectroradiometer device.
Is this what you do? You just
Carry
go
it around
around,
with
friends' houses and go, excuse me, I think you
Yeah.
find your monitor is not
That's a
showing
bit
the
too
correct.
bright.
Yeah.
As long as the screen itself is not horrendous, you know, generally it's quite easy to get a pretty reliable setup. Maybe a lot of them come factory calibrated now, so you can normally find a mode that's got decent settings and it will look fine. If you're in any way worried about accuracy for more professional work, you know, office work, photo work,
Yeah.
or if you need to match between devices or displays, then that's going to be really useful, but your average kind of user at home is not going to need that kind of thing.
I make a lot of like jokes and stuff, and then I watch them back. I go, it's just not funny, or it's not.
This one of your builds? You'd always want to make as many corrections as you can to the hardware itself. So I would never carry out a calibration and just let the software do everything, because all you're doing then is making the software overcompensate for what might be poorly set up in the first place. Get the monitor to the best settings it can achieve, and the software will normally guide you to that. So there are stages in here that will help you get to the right brightness, the right balance of RGB, and then the profile will do the more finite corrections of gamma. You could create a profile that is for sRGB, and then if you use that sRGB in a color aware application like Photoshop or something, or even Chrome browser nowadays, it will map the wide color gamut back to the smaller color gamut.
Oh, I'm doing it now. Sorry, it is.
The reason you have a wider color space, a wider color gamut, is because a lot of modern content is produced in a wider color space. So HDR content, HDR gaming, that's a classic example.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds to explain color space.
So color space is the range of colors that you're going to see on a display. Certain content will be created in different color spaces, sRGB being the common one, that's a small color space, or wider color gamut that is used in HDR content. So It's going to be important to make sure that the monitor can cover as much of that color space as you want for the content that you're going to use.
That was good. Jump and press E.
Why?
Because you got the rope. And then you got to go on the rope. Look, there's ropes. There you go. There you go. There you go. Get ready. Turn around. Shoot them. Shoot them. No. HDR versus SDR.
HDR, high dynamic range, is all about creating, basically, as the name suggests, a higher dynamic range, which is a higher contrast.
Yes.
It's also associated quite commonly with colours. So it's about making the image brighter, but also darker at the same time, so an increased contrast, and also making it more colourful. Okay. So a lot of content now will be in HDR, and you'll want a display that can handle that and produce those images as they should be.
100%, 100% success. Okay. Oh no.
Where's he got
Oh no. Press the scroll wheel down. One, there you go, fire with the other gun. And you're dead.
Did well.
You've already said that you play a lot of console games, and I know you brought an RTX 3090 PC with you, but I'm here to say this has got a 3090 Ti in it.
The Ti makes all the difference, right?
It does. I think that looks amazing.
Yeah. About partly also because of the OLED as well, because you've got like very close to true blacks.
The way I described it in the review was that this looks very realistic, but it just looks as close to lifelike, I think, as you can get. Even though this is not the absolute brightest image, you can get brighter HDR monitors. It's just that level of contrast.
Yeah.
It just looks right.
Yeah, it's not all about peak brightness anyway. You know, a lot of people get fixated on, you know, the highest peak brightness LCD monitor or mini LED backlit monitor, but if you've got a technology like this that can create true blacks, you know, turn the pixels off, you're going to get a higher overall contrast anyway, and you know, you avoid all the kind of problems with blooming and halos as well. And most HDR monitors are going to be pretty poor, you know, unless you get a very top-end mini LED monitor. But even then, you know, they've only got what, 1,000 zones of dimming.
Yeah.
You know, this has got dimming per, you know, for every single pixel.
So we're in agreement then. The monitor looks pretty good, but this is 1,100 quid. That is an extravagant amount to spend on a monitor. If I'm looking to spend, I don't know, £300 to £400, there's a lot of options in that bracket.
Yep.
What should a gamer be looking for, and what should they watch out for?
I think I would start by deciding, well, what size and what resolution do I want? Have you only got the desk space for a small, like 24-inch monitor, or have you got room for a 27? I mean, this is 34, this is big. I'd start with size, I'd start with resolution, and then I would probably look for a reputable brand, you know, someone who's well established in the gaming space. I wouldn't go on Amazon and buy some random brand. A high refresh rate, at the absolute least 120, 144 hertz. You know, 60 hertz, absolute no-no, I would say. I don't think you can trust response times. I mean, everything will be advertised as 1 millisecond nowadays. Maybe one of the transitions gets to 1 millisecond. I would always take those specs with a pinch of salt, particularly nowadays as they just continue to push 1 millisecond. Every monitor you see nowadays will be labelled HDR. It supports HDR10. It's got HDR 400 or 600. Or
but this just means that it accepts an HDR signal. It doesn't actually mean that it can show it like this.
It might not have the technology in the display itself to actually improve the contrast beyond SDR. It might not have anything that increases the brightness beyond your SDR mode. If you were serious about HDR, you probably want an OLED screen if you could get one, or look for something with like a mini LED backlight, or something with lots of dimming zones. That's what's going to create the HDR effect on a desktop monitor.
I believe you're going to take some measurements of this and do your full write-up. They can find that where?
You can find it at tftcentral.co.uk, so there'll be a full review of this screen in the near future. Thanks for letting me test it and use it.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. As I say, go over and check out TFT Central, all of their lovely reviews. If you do want to check out current pricing on this monitor or any of the others recommended, as always, you can find those linked down below.
And links for the incredible Gigabyte Aura 17. This machine packs in 14 cores of CPU power for sky-high frame rates, with options to suit every gamer's needs and budget. You've got DDR5 or DDR4 memory, Thunderbolt 4, and the WindForce Infinity cooling system. Learn a little bit more and get yours today with the link down below.
But thank you so much for watching this video. We'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, as long as you don't make me look too much of a twat.
I mean, that can't be guaranteed.